Welcome to Chatty TV Junkie, where tonight we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiance the Other Way. And I'm really excited because we've got some women on the show who are, I think, questionable in their judgment, quite honestly. Before we get into it, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel by clicking down below, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the bell notification when you do subscribe so that you will get alerted of every time that I upload, which on this channel will be a few times a week. Okay, let's get into it. So they started out with a brand new couple. This couple, the woman's name is Ellie. She's 45 from Seattle. And the man that she loves is Victor. He is 38. He lives on the island of Providencia, which I had never heard of. I had to look it up on a map. It is literally in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the ocean, the Caribbean Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and it is to the east of Nicaragua. So it's pretty far down there and pretty far out there. Actually, they were smacked with a hurricane last year. It was Hurricane Iota that hit the island. And they actually started out with her talking to him and him getting prepared for the hurricane, and then her not being able to get a hold of him after the hurricane went through. And then they go back a week and they introduce her and tell you her backstory. So her backstory is, I feel bad for her because she was married and sadly her husband accidentally overdosed on a prescription medication and he passed away. And she was pretty young when it happened. She was about 28 years old when it happened. So she hasn't been married or anything since. She has been working on building a great business. She lives in Seattle and she has this very successful pizza business with a partner. She says she's called the pizza lady sometimes. It looks like the business is pretty bustling. And she has decided to leave it all behind to go to this island to be with the love of her life. So they go into, her having to sell her car, and she's turning the business over to her partner, and she's literally giving everything up for this man. Well, it turns out her friend comes over and says, I really don't know if you should be doing this after everything that happened. And then they go into what happened. So apparently a woman contacted Ellie in Seattle by either Facebook or text and told her that, hey, this is my man and just leave us alone. He's my boyfriend and all this stuff. So she confronts him and he's like, I don't know what she's talking about. She's crazy. Nothing like this happened. And he completely denies it. Then he finally comes and says, well, I was trapped by her. She trapped me. The whole thing is very wonky and weird. So we don't know for sure if she still goes over there because they backtracked a week before this hurricane hit, and her friend's telling her, don't go, don't do this. What are you doing? You've got this great business here. This guy cheated on you. Don't go. So we'll see what happens with this couple. I personally think that if someone cheats on you, you definitely should not be with them, especially if they cheat on you and then deny it, because then they're once a liar, always a liar. That's actually what her friend said. She said, if he's willing to lie about this, what else is he lying about? So it will be interesting to see what happens with this couple. Then the next couple, Corey and Evelyn, are back. For those that don't remember Corey and Evelyn, Corey was in Ecuador when he met Evelyn on vacation. He fell in love with her and he wanted to be with her. And on another season, she actually came to the United States. He thought she was going to stay here and apply for the K-1 visa. She decided she didn't like the United States and missed her friends and family and wanted to go home. So she did go home. They've had their ups and downs, very tumultuous relationship. So we'll see what happens with these two. She had said she never ever wants to get married. Now she's decided, yes, I love him. And if this means that I have to marry because I don't want to lose him, then fine, I'll marry him. They talk about a point in their relationship where it wasn't working out and they broke up. He went to Peru. He was there for a month. He did meet a girl there. He told her he was only there for 4 days, but now as the episode goes on, he's like, well, I really need to tell her this thing about Jenny, the other girl, and I don't know if it's going to change things. So I have a feeling whatever this big secret is that he has about this girl Jenny, it could potentially ruin the relationship again. So we'll see. I don't know if this couple's ever going to work out. They have never been on the same page, and they're always fighting, so who knows? So we'll see what happens with that relationship. The next couple that is back is Bin and Yam and Ariel. Ariel is from the United States. She was on vacation when she met her man, and got pregnant, went back to the States, then decided that she wanted to raise the baby with him, went back over to Ethiopia, and has been living there. They've had their ups and downs as well. It's been very hard for her to adjust to life in Ethiopia. When she first got there and her mom went and saw the apartment she was going to live in that he had set up for them, there was no kitchen, there was no inside bathroom really, and her and her mom was like, no, she can't live like this. So now they're living in some place that seems a bit better. Parents are helping them out. Because of COVID, he has not been able to work because he is in the entertainment industry and works in bars and such, which have all been closed down because of COVID. So they are getting help from her mom. They actually have live-in help, a woman that she's actually become friends with. Apparently they pay her $200 a month to help with the baby and to cook, and she's teaching Ariel how to cook. The one thing that was interesting about this episode with these two is that, so Ariel was married for 10 years to this man. Ariel has invited her ex-husband, who she was married to for 10 years, Leandro, to come visit them in Ethiopia. She says that he's her best friend and she will always love him. That's a big red flag. I don't know. Even the sisters, Binyam's sisters, were like, that's not cool. We don't do that here in Ethiopia. We would never have an ex-husband come and stay in the house with us, much less see him at all. And Ariel seems to think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I don't understand. What's wrong with it? There's a huge thing wrong with it. That situation in general is just not cool at all. It's very strange, and no, just no. So we'll see what happens. They promote that she ends up back in the United States. Whether or not her husband comes with her, I'm not sure. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be an interesting couple this time around. Okay, next up are my favorite couple, Jenny and Sumit. They're from India, or he's from India. They've had a relationship for 10 years. It all started out when he worked at a call center and was talking to Western girls. She was talking to him. He was sending her pictures of this really hunky guy, which wasn't him. She found out about it. And when he finally sent her a real picture, she's like, oh, he's really cute. They continued to talk. She eventually went over there. And that's when she found out that he'd been hiding the fact that he was married. He was in an arranged marriage. And of course, that messed everything up. She ended up going back to the United States. And then when he got that all cleared up, and apparently they had to pay the other family off in order for him to get a divorce. And then she came back to India. So now we're back in India. I do know from watching the Instagram that they both come down with COVID, but I don't know if they're going to show that in this season or not. I'm thinking maybe they might. It depends on how long filming went on for. But right now, the way it stands is that she still desperately wants to marry him. He's still saying no. He's afraid his mom is going to commit suicide. She's threatened to do that if he marries this woman, which is pretty extreme. He believes that his mom would follow through on it, so he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to feel guilt about that. So he is stringing basically Jenny along. She's starting to really get irritated and say no. She actually had a little bit of a blow up and threw a chair and stormed out. And so we'll see what happens with these two. They did go to an astrologer, and the astrologer was telling them that, give it time. Eventually things will work out, but don't rush into things. And she's like, screw the astrologer. I want to get married now. And after that is when that fight happens. So we'll see what happens with these two. The final couple that they showed last night is a new couple. Stephen, who's 25, from Salt Lake City, Utah. His fiance is Alina from Russia. He met her when he was on a trip for the Mormons, and he speaks fluent Russian, so he was able to communicate with her. And he was there for 2 weeks, and he fell in love and proposed, and now they're engaged. The problem now, though, is COVID, and she can't come to the United States. He can't go to Russia. So the only country that they can meet where they'll both be allowed in right now is Turkey. So that is where we're at with them. When she first found out he was Mormon, she got really scared because she thinks that Mormonism is a cult and was afraid that he was going to steal her organs, which I think is kind of funny. So we'll see how this couple works out. He comes from a very religious family, and they've actually only spent 2 weeks together in person. So we'll see how that one pans out. And that's it. That is last night's episode of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, week 1. I believe there's at least one other couple that they haven't shown yet. So we'll see how many more new couples they have next week and continue on with the storyline. Most interested to see what happens with this new couple, Ellie and the gentleman that is on that island. and whether or not she actually ends up going over there and if they work out. Of course, the other couple is Jenny and Sumit. I've been watching them since they started on 90 Day Fiancé. And I think I also want to see how everything's work out with Ariel. It looks like things get really tumultuous, and so we'll see what happens with that. Okay, well, until next week, I'll be back with other reviews this week. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. Give me a big thumbs up, and I'll see you later. Bye.